Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant. Breaker of 7 seals. Let's see here. Again, fear, brothers and sisters. People are starting to feel it already, but it's coming. It's coming. And how people are going to feel it because they're going to be in shock, because they're not going to see it coming either. It says it will come upon you as a snare. It means people are not going to expect it. They're not expecting it. Because people like Farrakhan and Silas, Ben X, so forth, right? So-called Son of Man. And that's what causes great fear in our people also. The shock of it. But they have a way out. And as I was saying, a great deal of fear that our people have been in a state of fear for over 400 years. That's how they control us, by fear. Loss of power spawns fear. We are total loss of power. We're in total fear, and that's what they used against us. Total fear, beating, threats, right? Murder, hanging. The method they used to inflict pain upon us, to torture us, was fear. And it was the fear of death that was the greatest of it. Because it says we tolerate it because of fear of death. We tolerate the affliction. It wasn't told to submit to the affliction. It was told to submit to servitude. But it says, I should have showed the verse actually. It says we do it because fear, and they gave us that fear of death, that so-called sealed Bible stuff. It's not even in there. See? Or was the fear that you had here was nothing compared to the fear you're going to get if you don't obey Master and you die. Because then Master Jesus is going to get your ass and he's going to torture you forever and ever and ever. And don't tell me that fear is not real, because they put it in me. And they had your own parents do it. So it means they're more credible, because your parents told you, must be right. Credible fear. And I do it in many years of my life until I finally figured out it was all bullshit. But when I was told it, I didn't know what was right or wrong. I just didn't want to make any mistakes. I didn't want to end up in that condition. So a lot of people reacting right now because of fear. They acting the way they acted because of fear. Fear of the devil, fear of jail, fear of being shot down, fear of their children, fear of loss of job. You're living in fear right now. You fear, if I don't obey my boss, I'll lose my job. If I lose my job, I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my rent. I'll be homeless, right? I fear my children may get in trouble, get shot down. Think about it. You live in fear right now. It's all about fear here. That means you're not in the right place, because they're the ones that's causing the fear. That means they don't love you. All this. Oh, they're so nice to you now. They want to talk to you. Good morning. Open the door for you. It's too late for that bullshit. Too late for it. They're trying to make it seem like, oh, they're good people. And no. You wicked, evil people, and as the Bible says, can a tiger change the stripes? No. You're the same old people you've always been. It's just right now, you're a lion a tiger has eaten. So you find a tiger, once he's eaten, you can walk around a tiger. He won't bother you as long as you don't bother it. But you better be around when you get hungry again. And they're about to get real hungry. What's going on, brothers and sisters? I want to try to keep this short, but it's a lot of stuff I want to cover today. Chapter 18, right? A redux. I may have to do another one because it's a very complicated chapter. I debated whether I should go into it, but I said that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to all the INJIL. It's late, so I don't fear too much fear, right? Of people stealing it now because it's so close. But for years I had to be very careful about that, because I give too much information out there, then they'll jump up and say it's theirs, and how would anybody know? then the deception would be off the page. See, I broke the seals. You see, they haven't broke anything now. They don't have this information. See, and so they try to grab it now. It's too late because this is everything's Paul is about to boil. This is right. Let me mention this again, right? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See, this is us here. This is where we start out. Original people going vertical, right, upright. Now we're crooked, and we're not even we're not just crooked, right? See, but we're gonna change colors. See, operating under somebody else's nature. Okay? So we change our nature and our direction, our actions. How did that happen? Well, that's what Pharaoh comes saying. See, you're evil, wicked, and you got to be like this. Well, God's gonna get you, even though he's a devil. His father's a devil. His father's the ones that did all this stuff. His father's a devil. That makes him a devil. He's a demon. Period. You can't get around that. It's a biological fact. But that's what he's focusing on. It's here. So how did this happen? So he's blaming. He's accused of our people. Oh man, see how wicked y'all? God's gonna get you. What I mean, oh, we just went from this to this by ourselves. See? We was this, and then we went that way. So how did it happen? How do we, we just like a car, we just turn the steering wheel and just say, I was going north, but now I'm gonna go east. Is that what happened? My natures go this way, but somehow, for an unknown reason, I just abandoned my nature, right? Abandoned my culture, my language, everything. Why? So he's blind. So that's what he said. See ya. See, because he's a liar, and he's a fool, and plus his band of fools over there, demons and liars and turncoats, right? They're all stupid, and they don't know. I keep telling people to learn vectors, but you can't. Hey, you can only tell people. Okay. So you have a vector. You said you don't. It tells you if you study physics, everything. A force doesn't change direction by itself. It takes a force to do it. It says you move in a certain direction, you continue in that direction unless a force changes you. You don't just change on your own. It has to be a force to change you. Even if you're driving a car is just not going to change direction. It has to be a force. The wind blows it, or you turn the steering wheel, right, or whatever. You have to do something to make it change whatever the direction it's going, how fast it's going. It's not just going to just do it by itself. That physics teach you that. So if it's going that way, it had to be something that did it. And there it is. Boom. That's the devils. See, that's the direction they're going. They're wicked. And when they come in contact with us, right, but we make them more upright. I'm not going to that. More upright than they would have been. But now they got us going this direction. And so who's the cause here? Is it this or this? Who's to blame? This or that? This is the blame. But he's blaming us. Why? Because he's one of them. He's one of them. And he's paid to blame us for because that's why he don't mention the covenant. That's why he don't mention the covenant, because that's reward, and we don't get no reward for being wicked. So he said, yeah, we was part. He's remember the punishment part, the hard cost. He mentioned that part. But he don't mention the part about the reward. Because he said, see, you're wicked. You got to repent. See? But he's about to cast down. Because the accuser of our brother to cast down. Because this is the problem here. And if this is the problem, there's only two ways to solve this problem. Remove it or get away from it. Get away from it, leave here, then we go back to our original direction. Or remove it, destroy it. Right? Otherwise, we don't, as long as we're in contact with them, we're going to continue going this direction. If I can say, all right, wicked y'all. Let's move on, brothers. And this fear, It's telling you something happened in the Middle East. That's the war in heaven. I've been talking about that. That's going to cause their hearts to fail, cause strokes, seizures. And it's all about you. For fear of powers of heaven be shaken. That means their powers have been shaken. But something that's going to happen here as a result of it. And we know that fear, the greatest fear they have here is you rising. So if you understand that, they're going to see their powers broken over there, falsehoods goes down, and they're going to see you're rising, and that fear is going to give them strokes, heart attacks, seizures. And here's the Messiah. Oh, I'm going to save you, make America great again. You better listen to what he's saying. Pay attention. When was America great? When you was in the fields. They had you under control. They were losing control of you since the 1860s. And so America, and they won't come out and say it, but that's what he's saying. Got to get rid of you. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And everything they're doing is backfire because their time is over. The seasons change. Winter season, that wisdom was great in the winter. It's totally irrelevant, of no value when spring comes. Who cares about building an igloo in spring? Everything he says, everything is backfire. He's always back. What do you call it? Backstepping or whatever, right? On his tariffs and everything else. Because nothing they do will work because it's over for them. The pressure's overwhelming. Tell me that in a minute. Revelations 18. Fall of America. Okay, let me touch this quickly, brothers and sisters. Right? I have to talk. I come to every day. Oh, before I do that, listen to this, brothers and sisters. Listen to this. Take about 5 minutes. So you read between the lines. I'll talk about the beginning. Listen carefully. They're trying to rewrite history, but they can't write unless they get rid of you. That's why it says, let us cut them off from being the real Israel, from being a nation, so they may remember no more that it never existed. And that's what they're trying. That's what Trump is saying. Brothers and sisters, so my right here. Listen to this carefully. So this is what I'm trying to tell you, but you don't read between the lines. Listen carefully. They're trying to rewrite history, but they can't write unless they get rid of you. That's why it says, let us cut them off from being the real Israel, from being a nation, so they may remember no more that it never existed. And that's what they're trying to do. And that's what Trump is saying in cold words, make America great again. When was it great? We were slaves, we were in the fields. But they're trying to rewrite that. And that's the problem we have for AI, because right now, that's why it's closed door meetings, because how can they install AI, right? Without any wiggles in it, right? Because if you ask AI, is America a good country? he said, no, they're racist, they're wicked. He didn't want you to say that. Because you're going back over the history. So you can read the history. Get rid of that old history. Get rid of I'm going to do it a different way because I'm technical issue here. Do it a different way. Teach that. Not telling people. Okay, bro, since I keep messing this up, no sound. Try it one more time. Try it once more. Listen to this carefully. See, this is what I'm trying to tell you, but you read between the lines. Listen carefully. They're trying to rewrite history. Brothers and sisters, so my right here. Listen to this carefully. See, this is what I'm trying to tell you, but you read between the lines. Listen carefully. They're trying to rewrite history, but they can't write unless they get rid of you. That's why it says, let us cut them off from being the new Israel, from being a nation, so they will remember no more that it never existed. And that's what they're trying to do. And that's what Trump is saying in cold words, make America great again. When was it great? We were slaves, we were in the fields. They're trying to rewrite that. And that's the problem we have for AI, because right now, that's why it's closed door meetings, because how can they install AI, right? Without any niggles in it, right? Because if you ask AI, is America a good country, so forth, and they go back, AI go look at the history and say, no, they're racist, they're wicked. They don't want you to say that, because they're going back over the history. So I can rewrite the history, get rid of that old history, get rid of it. Right? Get rid of you too. Let's get rid of it in all nations. Let's get rid of it so no one will remember that you really existed. And that's what Donald Trump is saying. Because he's saying, we're going to go again, let's get back to where we were before, get rid of these niggas. That's their plan. And the Bible tells us their plan. John will really get rid of them. And they want you to make sure you understand. That's why false Israel is there, to convince you that you're not Israel. You see this picture right here? This was the one of the king, just before the one was king, burns out. And what happened there? And Abraham convinced him that we're the true son of Abraham. Because they tell the preachers, especially these Negro preachers, do not teach that. Do not tell these people they're Israel. So they don't. And they put forth through that 1948, the calendars. Okay? And so, when the king inspired him to go and say it, he gave that promised land speech. He was dead, the book was burned out the next day. So if this don't convince you, nothing will. So pay attention to what you're about to hear. It goes to just about 5 minutes.
When Donald Trump was inaugurated, by most measures, the United States was the strongest major economy in the world. Growth was robust, unemployment was at historic lows, inflation had fallen to a manageable level, and productivity, the elixir of economics, had picked up. Trump took this booming economy and upended it with massive tariff hikes. Has anything like this ever been done before? Well, nothing quite as self-defeating, but the smooth holy tariffs were also imposed after a decade of heavy growth. That story is worth recalling because there are a startling set of parallels to today's situation. We remember the 1920s as the roaring 20s. In economic terms, it's apt. The annual growth rate for the decade was over 4%. Unemployment stayed low for most of it. Revolutionary innovations defined the period, allowing the mass production of cars, airplanes, telephones, radio, and movies. Television was birthed then, as were band-aids, which many say is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It was also invented then. Henry Ford perfected the mass production techniques that would define modern manufacturing for decades. Just as the 1990s and 2000s were celebrated for creating a new economy, that was the feeling about the 1920s. There was another story about the 20s, about the hollowing out of the core American industry, of jobs being shipped abroad, and the loss of the soul of the country. You see, agriculture had been at the heart of the American economy, comprising most of the workforce until the late 19th century. Even by 1900, 40% of the American workforce labored in the agricultural sector. The country was defined by its yeoman farmers. Every one of the first American presidents, Washington, Adams, Jefferson, had owned and run farms. But the rise of manufacturing had resulted in the erosion of that landscape. By the 1920s, more than half of the country had moved into cities, and only 25% of Americans worked in agriculture. The American way of life was in peril.
Okay, brothers and sisters, hopefully that sound came across okay. So that's my error. I somehow messed up the sound. Anyway, the bottom line there is that, and maybe talk more in detail some other time. Did you see any black folks in that? You saw black folks there anywhere. Now you know they're talking about, they include slavery, so-called slavery time, Holocaust time, because they mention the slavery presidents, Jefferson and Washington. They said they had farms. No, they had plantations. You see how you didn't see no black folks anywhere. And oh, what about sharecropping? There was black folks out there doing that work. See, this guy's Indian. They all on board with this, brothers and sisters. They're trying to write you out of history. They're trying to make, because they read this and that. That stuff never happened. White folks built this whole thing. See, and Jefferson and White, they wasn't slavers. They weren't oppressors. They weren't rapists and pedophiles. They were farmers. But wake up, brothers and sisters. Well, you're going to wake up in a minute. You're going to be forced to wake up. See? So this is what it says right here. God, do not remain quiet. Do not be silent, God. Oh, Farrakhan said, be silent. Do not be still. God told him, be silent. Right? For behold, your enemies make an uproar. Those who hate you have exalted themselves. They hate us. You know they hate us because they change 100%. You don't change something you love. They make shrewd plans against your people. That's us. They make shrewd plans against your people. Those plans that you can't, is in the background where you, out of sight where you can't hear it. And conspire together against your treasured ones. They conspire. In the background, conspire, it means they're out of your sight, out of your line of sight, and out of your hearing. They have said, come, let's wipe them out as a nation. Wipe them out, get rid of them. They're talking about us. So the name of Israel would no longer be remembered. They'll erase their identity because false Israel saying they're us. See? They want to totally get rid of that. And that shows right there. They're trying to rewrite history like you wasn't even there. You had nothing to do with that. You was all over that. If you had told the truth, you would see no black faces and all the whole. And this is Democratic Party. There's CNN, and this guy's Indian. They're all on board. And so they make covenant against you. It tends to Edom and the Ishmaelites, the Arabs. They're all on board. Move on, brothers and sisters. Be careful, brothers and sisters. You know, I'm not going to, I talked about this yesterday. See? But it said, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. See? Because, remember, his job is to bring in a new world. Right? Now, why would they send, why would they send a prophet? They send a prophet in by itself. They don't send a prophet in an army. They're a prophet in by themselves, like Elijah Muhammad. Right? They sent a prophet in by themselves. So how does that work? And Prophet Muhammad, right? Because If high pressure defeats low pressure. High pressure defeats low pressure. See what's going on here. Okay, did I make another mistake here? Okay, see what I got? Yeah. Okay, something went wrong here, but I'm not sure what it is. Let me figure it out. I should have tested. I always test this stuff, but I didn't test today, and because I always get in and start mess with stuff. So, what is this? What is going on here? Not that. Not that. What about this? I gotta figure out what's going on here. Okay. Okay, let's do it this way. Okay. And then no. Is that it? What happened? Okay. Oh boy, I tell you. I don't know what happened, brothers and sisters. I should have tested before. Nope. Okay, let's take a look at it. Oh, that's not it. There you go. That got changed. You got me this time. I know bad enough to check this stuff before I. Okay, I think I got it. So as I was saying, brothers and sisters, anything that resists, see, it sounds kind of tough here, right? But what it's saying is that anything that gets in the way of bringing this new is going to be destroyed. And so it tells you the intensity, says wrath, quickly. It won't be tolerated. It's not tolerated. Any bullshit is going to comes its mission. That's what it's actually saying. But it's trying to show the intensity of it. Right? Because it says, blessed are those who have take refuge in him. In other words, those on board, it says, either with me or you're against me. If you with, right? You with the angel. Understand? So the other thing I was saying before about why they send one prophet and messenger, because one ounce of high pressure is greater than trillion tons of low pressure. It's just that's the way it is. That's the way pressure works. That's the way pressure works. Okay. That's why you need to understand pressure and understand vectors, because that's the way it works. High pressure overcomes low pressure. Period. It could be one gallon of high pressure against trillion tons of low pressure, and it's gonna cause the low pressure to move it out the way. That's just the way it is. That's the way pressure works. So you need to send one person in with high pressure, and it's going to destroy the low pressure. See? And so it says, and this is the greatest time in history, they send one person in, the Son of Man in, Suleiman in, with the angel, which is high pressure. So he's got a high pressure mind, because he is the angel. He's become the angel. You understand? So that means he's the most powerful person on the planet. Master Muhammad's not on the planet. Right? He's where he is. He's the most powerful person because he has the angel, which is high pressure. There's no pressure. No, they couldn't touch it. They had 2,000 years, couldn't touch it. That's where it works. See? And so their wisdom is low pressure. They'll say their wisdom would not work because their wisdom is low pressure. High pressure destroys low pressure. So their wisdom will not work against high pressure. High pressure is coming and expands. High pressure expands in the face of low pressure. Low pressure is compressed, contracts. High pressure expands. Gets big, greater and greater. The more you keep pumping in, it's like inflating a tire, right? You put a little, you start getting big after a while. It's full. Same thing, you start inflating. So you're inflating the world with a new reality. And they can't withstand it. Okay? And so the old reality don't work. Because new reality, you only need one person with high pressure. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay, I was talking about they're conspiring against us. Okay, that. And I just mentioned angel mind. So the mind's become the angel. He is the angel. High pressure. That's what I tell you. Once you get the angel, upload the angel, then you have a high pressure and nothing they can do against you. No weapon they can form against you, nothing, because the pressure comes out of their mind. They can't come with anything. Whatever comes out, they can't go beyond their mind. They can't create a pressure greater than their mind pressure. So everything they do will fail. That's why I said no here be harmed, no weapon they fashion can prevail against you, because whatever it will come out of a low pressure mind, a low pressure weapon, and it won't work. That's why I says once our people that's in prison, they start blowing injured, they come out of there. They can't hold them in there. Let me move on, brothers. I'm going to talk about that more another time, but I'm behind, so I'm going to move on quickly, brothers and sisters. Again, see, she comes with everything, fully loaded. You don't have to add any accessories or anything. She comes fully loaded. This one you got to add accessories. You got to add gadgets, add coloring, food coloring, right? Seasoning, add stuff. No, this comes perfect. If they add anything to it, nothing, zero. This you got to add. So which one you want? The original? Something you got to put hot sauce on, some food coloring, right? See, you got to iron it out, hair, right? Got to cook it up. You don't need to cook this, you don't do anything to it. It's perfect just as it is. Got to boil this, cook it, bake it, season on it, coloring, everything. This is perfect just like it is. Okay? So, sisters, why you advertise? You don't need to advertise. You need to be showing off. Why? They need to do this because they're trying to convince everybody they got something. Trying to convince people. See, if you don't have anything, you got to convince people. Man, I got money. See my boy, I got money. I got a butt. See? And they make it real tight so you can see it. Some of them, I mean, I don't care how tight you make it, still ain't gonna see anything. But they do it to exaggerate it. To exaggerate it so you can see, hey, see, this is a butt here. See the line here? That's a butt. No matter how small it is. Fake breasts. Botox. Fake everything. And they convince you that you need to be doing that too. But you looking back at you saying, I want to be like you. And then they fool you to make you want to be like them. You don't need to be. She's perfect like she is. That's our women. Right? Okay, let's move on. I'm going to have to do this 2 parts, brothers and sisters, because I said I messed up on the other thing, and so I should have checked this before. I usually do, I didn't today. So they got into it and they got me. Okay, now chapter 18 here. Now I want to explain something. I've debated where I should go, but since I'm doing this series like I'm doing, I'm just going more deep. I'm going deeper into it because chapter 18 is particularly difficult, and it's really one of those where you really got to connect the dots all over the place. So I'm gonna give you the highlight, and then tomorrow, hopefully, I'm gonna highlight hopefully tomorrow, right? I keep saying that, right? Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be able to have everything lined up like it's supposed to. I can go to it, right? And because it's really going to take time to really talk about chapter 18. Because I never revealed chapter 18 like I'm going to reveal today. Partly because it's so complicated, because first you wouldn't understood it anyway, right? And secondly, as I said, I got to protect it from other people. Still saying it's my how I broke the seals. Okay. And like I said, it's very complicated. So, and you're probably not going to understand anyway. But anyway, I'm going to go through it. So this is the chapter 18 is talking about. Okay, you can. I'm not going to go through this. You can read through your leisure, brothers and sisters. Leisure. But this is, I'm getting, this is a graphic, I talked about it yesterday. This is Middle East, this is heaven. It's about chapter 12, right? These are American posts all over the Middle East. This is Iran, Arabia, false Israel's up in this corner, right? So let me make this larger here. See, so now they threaten it. Now I took this. There's 2 sides to this. I'm talking from the side where they actually attack Iran. Right? The other side where Iran does the preemptive. I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to reveal everything. I'm just doing it this way. The results still end up being the same. See, I got to be careful about saying it the other way. Other way is they do a preemptive. If you read the scripture, it can kind of tell you, if you pay close attention, it will tell you which one happens. But like I said, I'm going to, right? In other words, because it says they're pushing against Iran. So does Iran wait till they attack them, literally attack them, like Saddam Hussein did, let them set up and attack them, or they do it first? So it's either way. I'm sure it this way, but it could be the other way. Either way, the result's still the same. So I'm showing they attack. This is going to happen any day now, brothers and sisters. The war's going to go on. Now, whether they attack first or American God make our attack first, right? Either way, the result is still coming out the same. They attack, boom, and then they return. Oh, they got a great missile force. So they come back as a whirlwind. So they attack, but they return and fire as a whirlwind. Oh. See? Bigger. Attack all the sites. Arabia attack all the countries, right? And put them all on fire. And so they're running out of the Middle East on fire. fire on their ass. I'm talking that more deeply in all the time, brothers and sisters. But it takes a long time to put these things together. You can't believe how long it took to put this together and make it work as good as it's working. Right? This stuff is not easy. So in other words, so this is what happened. They set the Middle East on fire. Right? This is what chapter 18 is talking about. And then they take control of the whole Middle East. We're talking about all of heaven, as far as this was going. Okay? What's that got something here? Okay. So here's, right? War. Ran Syria, they were victorious, right? They're in a conflict with America. American Britain's under theirs, right? Okay. And it talks about a slingshot that David is matched by Muhammad. He said he takes out false Israel, Goliath, with a slingshot. And the stone in there, I've been holding it back for years. I've been kind of hinting at it. And now you see, Egypt is turned against them and aligned itself with Iran. That's a stone that's going to betray false Israel, hit him in this, and knock him out, Goliath. This is the slingshot. That's the stone in the slingshot, right? That's about to happen. Boom. Knock Goliath out while they're at war. And then they kick America, Britain out of the Middle East. They take control of the Middle East. Okay? Like I said, you read those things at your own leisure. And then that's when they actually cast out forces under siege. Right? That's when they attack us. Remember? So, because the point is they see false Israel going down, and false Israel was a stone that was kept us blind. Because they kept saying, no, they're them. But if they go down, that means, remember, there's hope is reason false Israel was there to prove that they're the seed of Abraham, not us. Because they're not that we must be. Even though we got all the information, but they hide it. They tell the preachers, do not teach that. Martin Luther King taught it, he was dead the next day. He ran and said, promised land speech, next day was dead, right? They told preachers, black preachers, do not teach that we're seed of Abraham. Martin Luther King, this is Elijah Muhammad, he bucked the system, they killed him. All those other preachers, they don't say it. See? That's what's going on, brothers and sisters. They don't say it. So let's go here, back up. They don't say it, okay? So, but once they're gone, then we has to be. And so that they have to attack us, because then they lose control of us. That's the last method. When they lose total control, they can't let us go. Then they attack us. That's where they attack us. Because at that point they're losing control. We come together. We come together. They say watching. They say the drag will watch them. If you understand the whole thing, right? It's the divide and pursuit of was born. There's watching the nations about to be. So when nations be born today, all the nations are watching to make sure that don't happen. Okay? So when they see it happen, why are they watching and destroy it? I'll talk more than that another time, brothers and sisters. So that false was gone. So now, whoa, four winds blow, we come together. Boom. Okay? And then demons, they come with us, they attack all blacks, and then we have to cast the demons out. It's chapter 18. Okay? Okay, it's talking about economic collapse and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Then we're going to close, brothers. I'm gonna give a brief. See, let me go up here. Hold on. It says very complicated. So when this happens, I need to read this part, right? See, here's talking about, so that as a result of that war, and they lose, they're going to lose it. Babylon, see, Babylon, that's telling America. As a result of that war, Babylon, she falls, America falls. Let's follow this. The one place demons, okay? I'm going to go more in detail in a minute. Right? So it talks about all the things that happens as a result of Babylon falling. It says in one day, in 1 year, it'll be a year of hell, Babylon, or her plagues, death, mourning, and famine, cannibalism, right? She's under judgment, plagues, cannibalism. And then talking about Caesar the Great. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Caesar the Great. Who's Caesar the Great? Okay. And what was Caesar the Great? And talking about 1 hour. See, this is going to be suddenly. So that's what I'm talking about. And Caesar the Great, I mentioned 3 times. I mentioned 3 times. And woe to the city, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about here. So I'm going to have to do it more in more detail. Then talking about Babylon, the great city. So you got all these different. So who are all these different people? Who are all these different cities? Okay, here we go. Now, the Caesar the Great, see, now I've never revealed this before, but that's not just, it's all 3 of them. See, it's all 3 of them. Because that's why you got to connect the dots. Because over here it says, it became the Caesar the Great into 3 parts. So all 3 of these represent Caesar the Great, not just Europe. All 3. See? But Babylon, Babylon the Great, that's America. Babylon Caesar Strong is specifically Europe. Babylon the Great City is Magog. See? You understand? And like I said, again, Russia is part of, is 1/3 of Caesar the Great. All 3 of these represents that. Got to connect the dots. Okay. So it shows you, okay, and you can read at your leisure, right? It's Babylon falling. We're talking about Babylon falling. Then it talks about here. And that's God, fell Babylon the Great, right? So you read all this here, it's talking about Babylon, right? And all the things that happened to her. So there's 1 day. So America, she's going to receive the plagues in the morning and the famine. That's her judgment. Her judgment. See? But over here, Magog, which is Britain, what's her judgment? She's going to be destroyed. It says, I lifted up one strong and belonged to great meal and threw the sea into the unrushed throne, Babylon, the great city, right? Remember, throne Babylon, the great city, right? That's Magog, right? She's thrown into the river. See, thrown into the river. Okay, where it says specifically, and lifted up one stone and threw the sea, or thrown into the sea, right? Threw it in the sea. That's what her punch. She's wiped out, thrown in the sea. But this one goes plagues and all those different things for 1 year, over a year of hell. Okay, let's move on. I tell you, it's complicated. Then you get Babylon, the Caesar Strong. Remember, that's specifically Europe. Now, that's the one that gets total. Remember, economic. Remember, it mentions Babylon. That's Babylon, and then it says Babylon, the Caesar the Great, and Babylon, Caesar Strong. So, Caesar Strong, that's Europe. But it's also mentioned see the great at the same time. It means all of them going to suffer economic collapse. All of them. But you're going to get the worst. It will get the worst because remember, the city represents all three of them. So this is where it says, this is economics right here. Total economic collapse. The economy totally collapses. Right? But they don't get the worst of it. But see the great, that means all of them get it as a result of that war. But they get the worst. Right? See? So they get it immediately. Right? Because it tells you right here. Right? Right. But over here, see the great again, remember? It talks about this again. But remember, that's three parts. That's why I talk about 3 times here. 3 parts. Right? And so, and 2 of them mention desolate. Desolate. Now this desolate here, this is actually mentioned 4 times. This is talking about America. This one, right? And where's the other one at? Let's make sure I get this right. Okay. Much more. Okay, and this one here is talking about Russia. See? World War C, which came rich. It's talking about Russia, this one. Okay? And this one here is talking about false Israel. They don't mention anything because there's nothing. She's gone. Right? So what's the punishment here? Desolation. See, World War Great City have been thrown about fine linen, purple, scarlet. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Have been gilt and gold, stone, precious, because in 1 hour was desolated. So much wealth, desolated. But here, same thing. Woe to the city, the great become rich, all having boats and sea out of precious, because in 1 hour she would become desolate. So their punishment was desolation, right? That's in addition to economic collapse, because that affects all 3 of them, right? But specifically, Europe is to get the worst of it. Economic collapse, all of them affected by economic collapse, but Europe gets the worst of it. See, because it's the city is great, and then Babylon, city is strong. It's the worst of it. So it affects all 3 because the city is great. But in this case here, right, it's the city is great, but it's all 3 of them. So this one gets desolated, and this gets desolated. It's 3 parts, and this is false. This doesn't say desolation because they're gone. So what does that mean? And I try to put it again. It was kind of hard to put a graphic together, since I just stuff. If you want to review it, then you, right. But again, see, here's Babylon. This is America, and it tells you what her punishments are. And then this is Babylon, city is strong, right? And this represents I get this wrong. Okay, yeah. This represents so mixed up here. It's Europe, right? And they total economic collapse for them. Everybody's affected, but they get total. Over here, city the great. That means all 3 of them, and that's why. But it's 2 of them gets desolated. And then you got Babylon, the city the great, right? And that's the one thrown into in the sea. That's Britain. Okay, so let's move on here. Now see, it says, 10 of you saw the wild beasts who hate the harlot have been desolated. See? And also, they'll show you something else here. So that tells you that's America, because that's what harlot is, America. So what do you mean by desolation? That means Russia and America, they're gonna go to war, and both their powers be broken. That's when they're desolated. Right? Their powers be broken, but they're going, America and Russia go to war. I said Britain's going to, not Britain, Europe is going to side with Russia, but the conflict between, because they're both superpowers, right? Conflict between Russia and America, and of course both be desolated. Both of them desolated. Their whole, everything. Remember I said they turned to steam, right? Total desolation. Okay. See? Because it says, and the wild beast saw wild beasts who hate the heart, haven't been desolated. Desolate. She had no power no more. Remember I said she lose power, then they close in on her. Remember I explained that to you yesterday? I said she turned the steam, she have no form anymore. They close and it says, that's what it says. It just know you saw the wild beast hate the harlot, have been desolated, make her naked, flesh eat her, and they will burn her down with fire. It means they close in. That's where desolate. So Russia and America, they go at it, that's Armageddon, and they both desolate each other. They destroy the governments. They destroy the countries. So they lose control of the countries. So it's a free for all. That's what happens. So this is more detail in chapter 18, and I can go more deep. I can go deeper, but I'm just going to show you what's going on here. See. See, it's a great city. That's all three of them. But that's what's going on here. So in other words, as the result of that war, right? They're going to attack us because falsehoods was gone, right? But because when Iran takes over, that totally destroys the European economy, and affects other economies too. But not to the extent the Europeans totally wiped out, totally, right? So in other words, in America's take from a famine. So it insinuates that they still have some power and all that kind of stuff, but it'd be famine. They're limited because obviously they got to be able to run this stuff, right? They have limited control, right? So it'd be famine and well, I think it says plagues, but they won't have total economic collapse, but close to it. Europe will have total, right? So they'd still be structured enough to go to war. So they go to war with each other, Russia and China, Russia and America, right? You understand what I'm saying? But the point is they attack us, because you have to have some kind of form to attack us. But what it's saying is that Europe goes immediately. America's process is a year-long process. One day. But as soon as that war takes place, boom, economies, boom, collapse all over. Europe collapsed totally. America is collapsing. Famine, it gives you the form of its collapse. Be famine, no food. See? So it's going to be mostly focused in that way, right? And so it gives you the form of it. But the point is that in the war between the Armageddon caused both of them to be desolated. Russia and America, they collide, and that they both desolate each other. And so therefore they have no form. The government, they'll try to call martial law, but it's not going to work. So it's going to be a free for all. And that's what it says, have been, and they hate hard, they have been desolated. So at that point, they're desolated. So they have no military, nothing to withstand. And then that's when they come in, says, and they will make her naked, finish her off, take everything she got, and burn it down. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, brothers and sisters. I hope you understand. You get the idea how complex. Also, do I have anything else here? Nope. How complex chapter 18 is. Okay? Got to connect a lot of dots there. Okay? So it's telling you about the war, what happened. In other words, immediate the pact of Babylon going down. I talked about the war, and that goes into more detail, because there just tells you they got thrown out. Here it gets in more detail, more specific. We're thrown out. What happens? America and Russia gets into it. They desolate each other. Europe is totally white, because you don't get to chapter 12. All you get in chapter 12 is the war, and they get kicked out, and that the accused of our brethren is cast down. But the details, economic, all that kind of stuff, you don't get that. Now at 18, you get that. Right? Because you don't even get the war Armageddon in chapter 12, I don't believe. So therefore, it's telling you, Russia and America gets into it. They desolate each other because they power. It's not going to be a nuclear war, but it's going to be close. Master Muhammad would make sure it's not a nuclear war, right? But they would desolate each other. Europe will be on Russia's side, but they told the economic collapse. They're going to be totally dependent upon Russia, but they will side with Russia. But the total desolation will be America and Russia, right? And so by being desolated, it says what happens. Right? And it says UK, they're wiped out, right? Right in the sea. They wiped out primarily by China, because China and India's on the way here, and so that's their point. They're just wiped out. But Europe, total economic collapse, because primarily because everything they got, they stole. They stole from Africa primarily, right? Because they was colonizing. So total economic, every loss of total economic collapse. That's why it says, right? But China, America and Russia comes as a military collapse, along a military collapse along with the economic collapse. You understand? Okay. And Britain, right, just totally wiped them out altogether. Period. Right. So that's what's happening here. And so America will be a year-long process. It's going to be torment. I mean, a year-long process. Cannibalism, everything else. See? They would hate the harlot. And once it's desolated, right? I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. But they won't have total economic collapse. Okay, brothers and sisters, I forgot something I neglected. But one of my main topics was Babylon could have been healed, but it was not. So what does that mean? I kind of hinted at that a while back, but well, I'm not going to put it on anybody, because it means sometimes some things you should understand. But anyway, I'm past that. I just tell it. I'm not going to assume anything. Actually, well, you know, I told you, I said that there will be a group, Christians, devils, right? That just actually following the law. And because that discipline they have is enough discipline to keep them being crushed by the pressure. See, because the pressure increasing, and that's what's driving this whole thing. The more heat you put, the more greater pressure, like a pressure cooker. So the universe we're energized, and we're at a point every 50 years, and now we're at a point that we're about to start experiencing it, because it says when mentors in the heavens and earth come above a sudden, that means be suddenly. So in other words, it's in the earth, the energy there, and all of a sudden it's going to have this, we're going to experience this big burst of energy, that's why everything happens so fast suddenly. So that pressure increases, and then, and it's assumed by giving quality of the pressure. Well, that's what I wanted to mention too. Let me see if I can. Okay. I want to. Yeah, I got all our statement. So their lack of discipline is in other words they can't withstand all the pressure we can stand. But if they apply discipline, they'll be able to withstand the pressure that won't crush them, but it will cause them to be controlled. They'll be servants, they'll be oppressed, will be under our control, put it that way. See? They won't control themselves. We have quality control of them, but they won't be crushed. They won't. So that's why they captive all the nations. Okay. So what they mean by Babylon can be healed? It's too late. If they have repented, it's too late now for it. They repented and they turned back to the law, like the Quran told them, right? If you obey the law they give you, the guidance, then that would have been healed. In other words, America would have survived. They wouldn't have been invaded by China. Because remember, they would have turned into steam. Right? They wouldn't have turned into steam. They may stay water, but they wouldn't have turned into steam. You understand what I'm saying? So that's because they had no form. So closing on, that's why they wouldn't have been desolated. But they didn't do that as America's people. So America would have been healed. It would have survived. Right? See? Well, they still been punished. They just would be, punishment would be punitive, not destructive. A punitive punishment is like, you whoop somebody, you recover from it. Destructive, that's death, execution. That's what it means. But they didn't do that. It's too late for it to do it anyway. But those that do it, and it'll be a sizable group. It won't be millions, right? Well, I don't know how many it's going to be, to tell you the truth. But the point is that they're going to try to join on. It says that in the scripture. They're going to try to join on with our people during the tribulation, right? They're not going to mix in because they cannot achieve Hajj. Those cannot achieve Hajj. You understand? But our people have to achieve Hajj. They cannot achieve Hajj. It's just they're not strong enough to do it. But they'll tag along. And they'll be fighting. They'll be fighting other devils during that time. And because they still hot. They still fire. They say turn into steam. So they're gonna be a struggle for them. They're gonna have to fight all the way through. And there won't be no such thing as no here and here be harmed. No, they're gonna come on scarred stuff, they'll survive it. They won't be destroyed. You understand? Those are the ones holding on, depends on how much discipline they have. Then they'll survive tribulation, just to go into captivity. But the other one won't, they'll be destroyed. They won't go into. You understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? Let me see other thing. Okay, well, I was talking about mess with Suleiman. See, the point is, you know I told you, quality. Okay, so you take and because they control our quality, right? You might have $1 million. They said, "No, you can only thing you can buy some shit for them." So now so you got $1 million, but man, you don't want to be smelling shit, so you get angry. And that's why it says, don't mess with him because it make you angry. Because what's happening is that no, the point is that you messing, you causing. It's like you put a balloon down, it's gonna come up someplace else. But it don't like you doing that to it. You can't hurt it, but you cause inconvenience to it. They say cause everything that offends, that's cause inconvenience to them. So you can't hurt them, but you can cause inconvenience. That's why they're gonna tear your ass up. That's why Farrakhan and Ishmael, those kind, they cause inconvenience. They can't hurt them, right? But they cause inconvenience. That's the point. I meant to talk about that today, so I'm gonna leave it there. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's talking about. See, so that's what things that offend him, because they have power, still have power to control the quality, not the quantity, the quality. Because right now, if my quality has been affected. I got to do this, right? Still got to go to the stores. Still got to do this. Got to pay rent or whatever. So they affect the quality. Well, Master Rama is here. They correct his quality because you're here. They affect those vectors. See, you couldn't harm him, but this, see, because he got superior. But the point is, they affect the quality. So in other words, they can't stop having $1 million, but they can say, man, but it has to be a shit farm. Yeah, I'm a millionaire, man, but I got to smell shit. So you get pissed off with that. You understand what I'm saying? That's the point I was trying to make. I got, because I had all this little technical issues, I forgot it. That's what it's talking about. Okay. But that's what angers them quickly. Because that's what you're affecting. You're affecting the quality. You got to do with your bullshit. I'm a son of man. I'm this, all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, so you got to deal with all these things, distraction. Like I said, pushmobile. That's another thing. Then you got to stop and mess with you and all that kind of stuff. See what I'm saying? That's why it says make his way straight. Read Malachi, it says make your way straight. Because anything in the way crooked, anything going to destroy it. Because he says he's going to make it perfect, make his way perfect. It means if you're in the way, you're a distraction, you're a bug, you're a fly, whatever. Any distraction, any inconvenience, that's your ass. Hope you understand, bro. So I'm leave it there. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. So what they mean by Bible to be hid? You can fight of it. Okay. We also know. You know what I'm saying? That he, well, it says, make it